I'm really glad what's happening in America right now. There's upheaval. Unfortunately, it struck us all in 2020. We had the pandemic, and we have Donald Trump, and we have the perhaps most explicit exposure of police brutality and police misconduct in the United States that this country has ever seen. And what you're going to see, videos will be trickling down through Facebook and YouTube. You're going to see a lot of police misconduct, and you're going to see a lot of cities react to that misconduct, as they should. What you're going to find out is that there's not just a few bad cops out there. There's a lot of them. And then there's the other cops that aren't stable enough mentally to be doing the job that they're supposed to be doing. There's a bunch of those. I know a bunch in Orange County. They know who they are. They know they're not stable. So you got unstable people getting caught doing unstable things, violent things that are aberrant to the normal person's mentality. They can't grasp someone kneeling on someone's neck for 8 minutes till they're dead, because that's the intent. The intent isn't to knock them out. The intent is to make them stop breathing forever. And that's what Derek Chauvin did, while 3 other rookie cops, who, I'm going to point it out, they were trained to do that all the way from frickin' the academy to do that, stood around and protected it. Freaked out a little bit, asked some questions maybe, but they didn't stop it. They didn't stop it. When you wear a badge and you see anyone committing a crime, you stop it. That's not what has been happening in the past 50 years. Nobody stops anything. And in this pandemic protesting era, you're going to see a lot of police abuse. It's going to come trickling down. You're going to see shitloads of it. And then they're going to pass it to the city attorneys, the district attorneys. They're not going to know what to do with it either. They're going to freak out. A lot of things are really in flux right now, folks. And now you got the police unions coming in on the side, because that's what they're going to do. They're doing it in L.A. That L.A. Protective League guy, what a dumbass. Those guys should just shut up right now. That would be their best bet. Shut the fuck up right now. Stop talking. You've nothing to talk about. You have no ground underneath you, and you need to stop talking. You're protecting criminals. Stop protecting criminals, and the world will become a better place. But when you not only co-sign what the criminals do, and then hire attorneys and pay for them when they screw up, it's not a very good look for you. It makes it look like you are complicit. So I think police unions need to be charged with crimes if they're trying to help cover them up. Huntington Beach Police Union is very strong. They've been strong for a long time. They've been calling shots. Now, this is going to be a process, folks. It's not going to be an overnight sensation, but I'm here to tell you, they're going to try to wear you down. They're going to try to grind this out. They're going to nitpick, and they're going to try to pick it apart, and they're going to try to keep it status quo, because they got to. If they lose that sense of, that illusion of control that they think they have, You got militants out there wearing badges. And what's going to happen is you're going to see a lot of infighting inside police departments, inside police unions for a while. If this goes according to the right way it should go. And they're going to start figuring out, we can't do this anymore. We're not going to get by with this anymore. We're not going to get by with shooting Dylan Tavares 5 times and missing with 2 shots and hitting someone inside a 7-Eleven, and we still get to carry a gun. We don't get by with that anymore. You're not going to get by with that anymore. I'm going to guarantee it. You're just not going to get by with it anymore. What I'm impressed with this country, and I got to be honest, guys, I took part in protests in the 60s and the 70s. I took part in it. You know, I took part in getting swung at by a billy club from a cop from a horse. I took part in that stuff. And I don't say that to be a hero because it's a big deal. He missed, you know. But I was afraid that wasn't going to ever happen again in America, where people weren't going to stand up and say, we've had enough of this shit. But Americans stood up. They didn't just stand up. They stood out and they went out and they protest. And they said, this is enough. Huntington Beach residents went out to fight the protesters. Now, why is that? Is it because they have a 0.9% African American population in Huntington Beach? You bet your ass that's why. 20 years ago, it was higher. It was 1.1%. How the hell does that happen? You think it's not by design? It's by design. Huntington Beach is racist. And it's these little pockets of racism crap with people who have lots of freaking money that they probably inherited and didn't earn that are causing the most problems in America. These entitled babies who think they absolutely have the right because of where they live. Where they live was stolen land. We should all know that and acknowledge it by now. We took it. Our ancestors took it. By any means possible, they took it. They said, this is our land. Now, let's talk about racism, or just absolutely the bottom line racism in America and how it started. We want land. We should go get it. Why? Because we're entitled to. Who said? Who said you were entitled to go get Arizona and make it your own and stick the Indians up in the far right corner where they belong? Isn't that what you were saying? Where they belong. Just stay right here. You can have your own little sovereign nation. Later on, we'll give you a casino. You'll be able to feed your people. Shut up. And we don't care when the coronavirus comes through, because it's going to affect you more. And we don't care if we got to run a pipeline through your reservation. Is this making America great again, guys? Is this really what America is about? I'm glad to see the numbers. I'm glad to see the awareness. I'm glad to see the people finally, I'm glad to see white people finally screaming bloody murder, enough is enough. This isn't going to work if we can't figure out how to acknowledge 400 years of brutality and slavery and incarceration and murder. If we can't acknowledge that that really happened and it's still happening, then there's something inherently wrong with us. And for all you little fat white fucks that like to carry a rifle around and think you're badasses, you're not. You're part of the goddamn problem. Your ancestors were part of the goddamn problem. And America's sick of you. Sick to death of you. Yeah, you got your little pocket groups and you look good with your American flags, but we're sick of you. Go away. Stop talking. Put the guns away because you probably can't shoot them straight anyway. And just shut the fuck up. You have no voice in America when it comes to racism or indifference to other races. There's something really wrong with you. Do you not get that? We're a small sphere floating around in the universe with a bunch of people on it. And guess what? We all got different colors. We all come from different places. I happen to think that was God's intent. Maybe he wanted to see how we would handle it, how we would treat people of different cultures, different religions, different races. Maybe he wanted to check it out and say, let's put them to the test. And we failed. We failed our brothers and sisters on this planet. We're still failing them. And there's people out there right now in back rooms and in sessions right now, drinking lots of coffee and probably other things, trying to figure out how to keep the status quo going the way it is. You know why? It's profitable. It's profitable to keep minorities down. Large corporations figured that shit out a long, long time ago. And they made a list. This is the people we're going to let in. This is the people we're not going to let in. Ahmaud Arbery was murdered because of the color of his skin. George Floyd was murdered because of the color of his skin. I could go on. Trayvon Martin, Breonna Taylor. I could go on and on. And everybody wants to stick their heads in the sand or hide behind their 8-foot fences. I talk about those fences a lot because there's a shitload of them in Huntington Beach. And pretend everything is all right. It's not all right. It's not all right as long as you feel like you have the need to go downtown and push protesters back to where they came from, wherever that is. And who the fuck are you to make that determination? The world. I'm looking at London right now protesting us. Japan protesting us and what we do here. We're the bad guys, people. Led by a bad guy. And it's time we realized it, and it's time we got him out of there, and it's time we return to semi-normal, because it's sure as fuck it's going to take a long time for us to get back to normal. Or healthy. I don't think we were ever normal. Get back to healthy. Get back to just treating each other like people. Helping the downtrodden. Not shooting them to death outside the 7-Eleven because they have a substance abuse issue. It's time we got on the right track. And it's time that we followed through, because this is what's going to happen. Because people in America, they go on 2-week cycles of news. Right now, they're involved. America's involved. But watch what the news does. They're going to try to calm you down. They're going to try to give you a tranquilizer. And they're going to try to move you on a different track. And of course, Fox News is just going to fucking lie up the ass. And feed you bullshit till you can't stand it anymore. Unless you're, a Trumper. In which case, you're going to sit there and go, oh, they're right. I didn't think of that. 400 years. Think of that. 400 years of putting scars and beating the shit out of and murdering and raping and separating black people and abusing and harassing. And it's still going on right now. You're going to see videos come out in the next few days. next weeks that are going to be shocking to you. Pay attention to the dates, because some of them are old and some of them are like outdated. And yeah, we know there were a lot of assholes about 8 years ago that did that. I get that. But watch the current ones, because you're going to watch how these officers were trained. This is a systemic issue. This is something that is trained nationwide. Chiefs of police from all the cities go to a convention once a year. All of them. Big freaking convention. And they discuss everything. They discuss terminology. They discuss use of force policies. I read the use of force policy of Huntington Beach. You can get that, by the way. I have it. I'll share it with you if you ask me. And after you read the entire use of force policy of Huntington Beach Police Force, which is just like all the Orange County police forces, at the end of it all, you will go, I'm still confused. I don't know where the line is. Because they had some really smart attorney write it. I'm guessing it was probably Mike Gates, city attorney, maybe had a hand in that. Yeah, it looks like his handwriting. And it's bullshit. It's just pure. At the end of it all, you go, well, I don't know what this means. Does it mean that they can use any force necessary? Of course, you won't get it. And they don't want you to get it. There's no lines being drawn. There's no definitive action being taken. You won't get it. Read it. Read it and tell me that you understand it. Because the only people that understand it are the people who wrote it. Not the people who apply it. People who apply it know that they've got qualified immunity. We're outnumbered. But now they're outnumbered. And it's about goddamn time.